Third Suburi from Miji Hammi, Ken Kamai. As you come back, raise the sword straight up. Breathe in through the sword all the way down to your hara. Hold your breath. Roll forward and cut 2 minutes. Come back to Kamai and start again. This is one breath cycle. So breathe in. Hold your breath. Yay! Third Suburi is one breath cycle. So as you move back, folding the sword, getting it straight up, you breathe in through the sword, hold your breath, and then come straight back up. Cut shomen. Hey! And let out the remaining air after the kai, coming back to Kamai. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Cut. Hey! And let out the remaining air when you come back to Kamai. Start again. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Yay! And let out when you come back to Kamai. One breath cycle. Once again, move back. Once you come with the sword over your forehead, do the breathing in sync with the last push up. So now, then come kiai, yay! And then the remaining air that you still have in the body, as you come back to Kamai, you let it out. So one breath cycle. Take your time. Yay! Big motions. Come up, drop down, come back up, let it drop down and cut. When you practice solo, you have time and you can exaggerate the motion. You come in, raise up, drop down, come back up the same way, but at this time you can allow yourself to drop it and to cut. Using the full range of the Bokken. 1, 2, 3. And then back to Kamai. Hey! Yo! Yo! So the motion with the legs that we covered on the second Suburi is the same beginning here. It's the same beginning as the rowing exercise that Osensei is teaching us here. The motion between the feet here. And then as we step, we draw back. Coming up, dropping in. When you come forward, don't step up. Come through the knees. Draw yourself forward. So as you come up, you're moving forward and you're cutting. So you're not wobbling up and down. You're more or less staying even through your motion, even though the feeling of when you're raising the sword is a dropping feeling. So here, and when the sword comes down here, you have a meeting feeling from below. When the sword comes back up, you have a dropping feeling. So you have this undulation depending on what you're doing in your body. And as you come up here, so as you cut, you have the feeling of meeting the sword as it drops in. So you have this all the time going on in the body. So if you do it again, from Ken Kamai, as I draw it back, I drop in as I raise the sword. As I lower the sword, I'm coming to meet it, as it were, very gently coming up here to meet it. And when I then once again raise the sword here, I once again come down into my hara and center more. And as I come forward without bobbing up, I come and meet my sword as it cuts shomen. And then we come back to Kamai. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yay! Yo! In other sword schools, they make a very quick transition to this in the back. And they cut very quickly, straightforward. We can see the similarities as we are coming up, and down, and back up, and cut forward. We can see how that is made really quick and fast through the more direct motion like that. Especially if you would have a big helmet over your head, you wouldn't be able to do it over your head. So you would move it from at the side of your body. And then you would cut very quickly, straightforward. But the Iwama of O-sensei and Saito sensei come back straight, following the line of your body, drop it to your side of the body, bring it back in the same manner, possibly drop deep to cut. When we drop it deeply, when we have it up here, so when we come forward here, as we fold the sword and we bring it straight up, so remember this straight up here is different from second suburi, which is here on an angle. That's second suburi. So coming up to second suburi, we are coming up to this position. Third suburi is different. We are folding the sword more than before, and we bring the sword straight up. And when we pass the nose, we breathe in from the tip of the sword straight down to our hara. Once we're up here, this hand is exemplified of stretching up. It's like holding the roof up here. So that is the strong one. You can see it as we fold, as we move back. Folding and moving back happens at the same time. And then you shoot it up, breathe it up, and your right hand is just close to your right ear. So that is holding up. This is more loose here. Then as you drop it, now when you drop it, don't do anything of this stuff. Don't distort your body. Don't roll your shoulder. So once you're up here, just let it fall to your side. And that's what I usually call a coffee press, because as this hand comes down to your center, the left hand The hilt grip is right by your hara, in front here. So don't lean back, don't put the sword too far back, so you start moving your shoulder and like that. You still want to have your body straight towards your front. Your left hand is outside your hara and it's loose. Don't hold it up, don't hold the tip up as if you're too eager to come. Relax. You have the stance where you're totally fine here to rest and take everything in and take your time. Then as you come forward, raise it up again. Now, if you have time and solo exercises, open your right hand. Let the sword glide through your open hand, or I'm just opening hand to see that it's loose, but you just let the sword glide all the way here, so you're able to bring it down to the back. And as you move forward, you pull it back into the grip and you cut from hilt to tip as you cut shomen. So it is a cut straight down here, emphasizing the hilt into the right hand, into the tip. Remembering that the impact point is about here on the sword. You don't have impact point at the tip, but you have it slightly in on the sword here. So that's where the point of impact is. So draw back as you're moving your whole body. So everything moves at once. Tilt, come straight up, breathe in. Now relax the shoulders and come down. Then come back up in the same manner and cut forward. Tilt, shoot up. At this point now, as this comes down, feel it as a coffee press. You're pressing this down and it becomes more compressed here, as if sprung. So you're standing in a very sprung position where you can naturally just spring from. Breathe in, hold, and cut. Once again, fold, pierce the ceiling, compress, and return, and cut. Come back to Kamai. You can see how the first 3 suburis works as a series, 1, 2, 3. You can see how the first suburi emphasizes the stability of the hip. You can see how the second suburi emphasizes the movement. And you can see how the third suburi emphasizes the breath. But not only the breath, but the up-down relationship, the dual opposing forces relationship that we have even standing still, the vertical up-down relationship that we have through the center of the body, and the horizontal that is expressed through the sword, but expressed horizontally between the hands that comes together holding the sword. And how the vertical and horizontal are combined through a connected body. So especially the third one now, when we do the third suburi, taking the time with one breath cycle, folding, breathing in. Here, especially here, emphasizing the down and the up at the same time. So really stressing this heaven-earth module that Osensei put into place. All that in place. draw back, pierce the sky, compress, and cut. And back to Kamai before you come back and settle. It's important to recognize that the third Suburi is always done very, very quietly, silently, sincerely, never rushed, and done very meticulously through the motion of the body. Taking the time to concentrate, to organize, to coordinate and synchronize all our movements. Now, where do we see this movement again? We see this exact movement in the last of all the weapon exercises we have with Bokken, with the Ken, and it's Kimusubi no touch, and it's almost like the we will cover on a different post, but it's good to remind ourselves that the third Suburi will come back when we do the last partner practice, which is a standalone exercise that we do in the end of all the Ken partner practices as a standalone exercise, Kimusubi no touch, that begins slightly different because we are not moving back, but we are moving forward and up. And then we are resting it to the side, and then we attack from there. So you can see Suburi number 3 in the ultimate Ken exercise of Kimusubi no touch later in our syllabus, but it's the same thing. So the third Suburi, folding, piercing the sky, dropping, compressing to the side, drawing up and cutting forward, and then back to Kamai, and then coming back.